Hey guys, your friendly neighborhood natty here. My name is Matthew, and today's video is going to be an unboxing on the Smith & Wesson 442 Pro Series. So the reason I got this gun is because I was scrolling around the internet. I have a bad habit now of looking for firearm rebates, and the one they had going at the time was the Smith & Wesson Firearm Frenzy rebate. So I kind of looked at that list and I looked at stuff that I of course never want or never need but always want, and the only thing that really caught my eye was the J-frames. I used to have one J-frame in Smith & Wesson. It was the Model 36, the old one, but the problem was that it was so rusted that it pretty much there was a part of it, a part of its frame that it broke off. It made it useless, you know, because it needed that for the whole thing to function. So the whole gun was useless. Basically a what do they call it? A paperweight. Quite an expensive paperweight. I think I paid $500 for it. So that sucks. But that was the only time I ever had a Smith & Wesson J-frame. I am curious about Smith & Wesson's new guns. I don't think I've ever got any of their new guns. At least revolver-wise. I do have a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, but I never shoot that gun. But yeah, on that list, you can look on that list. Oh, actually, the rebate might be over, sorry. But on the list, the only thing that caught my attention was the J-frames. And I looked at all of them. There was a $50 rebate, and the only one that I really was drawn to was the 442, particularly with no internal lock. Now, I will say it's not a big deal. It probably isn't a big deal, but that is a strong prejudice that I have. It's just an unnecessary safety that, you know, more moving parts equals more possible problems. So let's go ahead and look at it here. This 442 is the Pro Series, as I mentioned. I think its SKU is 178041. So here's the guy. Oh, don't move on me now. Here's the guy right here. Actually, hold on, let me just show you. That's probably safer. Let me show you. So I already put snap caps in there, but this is the Smith & Wesson 442 Pro Series. Yeah, not bad. It looks like a J-frame, I think. So this is the one that comes with moon clips. These are the guys right here. I tested it already. That does work. Although I will say that it's kind of hard to take them out. Now obviously with, you know, snap caps, that would be why, but I think if it was empty cases, then I think the moon clips would fall out just fine. Now as far as why would a revolver have moon clips, because that's usually resolved for center fire or non-rimmed ammunition like 9mm, 45 ACP, stuff like that. The moon clip kind of holds it in place. And so basically, if you look inside, it's probably not that clear, but basically the cylinder is cut that a moon clip could fit in there. Let's grab one here. You get 3 of them. Yep, just 3. So you grab this guy and it kind of falls into place like that. Looks like it was made by TK Custom because that's the initials that are on there. Oh, you're not going to see that. But TK Custom, so they're the one that make that. And they do make a lot of moon clips. I remember hearing about that company. So it sits in there like that. It sits in there, you know, and so it keeps the rounds in place. Now for rimmed cases, that's not necessary, but it does make it easier to kind of just throw the rounds in there and then you can just close the gun and go into battle. Whereas without it, you'd have to, well, even with the moon clip, you can just like do that and it's gonna kick the whole thing out. That's kind of nice. So this kind of skips that step with the speed loader where you put one in and then you have to lock it and you have to get rid of the speed loader. You can just throw the moon clip in there. So that's kind of nice. I gotta say, this J-frame, right? That's what Smith calls it. It does seem a little bigger to me. It doesn't seem like the J-frame size. And I have heard that Smith has created a whole new frame for the J-frame, and they call it the J Magnum frame, as in it could handle 357 Magnum, even though I wasn't sure if this was the J Magnum frame, because it does just say 38 special plus P. So since I don't have a Smith J-frame, I do have the Charter Arms Vintage, and I recall that this was very similar to the Smith & Wesson Model 36. It's even got 5 rounds and everything, you know? So it was pretty close to that. So when I compare the two, I can tell you that this 442 is bigger than the Charter Arms Undercover, which is very similar to that of the Smith & Wesson Model 36. So I do get the feeling this is the J-frame Magnum size. And also keep in mind that the cylinder is longer. The cylinder is actually longer on the Smith & Wesson 442. And so I thought, wait a second, that's weird. Why would they do that? You know what I mean? And so I thought, okay, maybe they did make this base this Alta J Magnum frame, but just say it's rated for 38 special. So let me get a snap cap. I want a 357 snap cap because I wonder if it's gonna chamber it. Here's the Cult Python. I know you guys like this boy. I like this boy too. But let's get 2 357 Magnum snap caps. All right, here they are, 357. So this is 38, okay, and this is 357. All right, so we know that this is going to chamber the 357, or 357, 38, sorry. 38 special, we know that's going to chamber and fire just fine. Now, if we do 357 Magnum, it chambers. You know, it looks like barely chambers. Just barely. Let's look at that. Let's compare that to 38. So this is the 38 chambering. And then there's 357. Yeah, so it looks like it's not meant to do it, which is fair. But then I wonder if it will fire. God damn, that's not good. Okay, so it's hard to take out. Oh, okay, yep, take out. Okay, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. That it seems to be able to chamber and fire the 357. The only thing I can think of is that this really is the J Magnum frame, even though it's only rated for, oh, can you guys see this? It says 38 special plus P. So then, why can it chamber the 357 Magnum? That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, I don't see any warning about this in the book at all. Now the only reason I did that was because the cylinder is a lot bigger than the Charter Arms. That's why I felt like it could fit 357, and it does. It does fit 357, and you don't shoot 357 through a 38 special gun. That's incredibly disappointing. The only thing I can think of is that I'll put the pictures up here, but here are pictures of the 442, that's the gun I bought, and then here's a picture of the Smith & Wesson Model 36 from Smith & Wesson's website. And to me, I think it's the exact same frame size, even though the Model 36 is blued. It's the same frame size. You can tell because there's kind of this elongated part by the cylinder release. It's elongated. It's not like that on old Smith & Wessons. Here's a Model 10 for you guys, right? So it's a K-frame, I know, but it's a Smith & Wesson. So you see how it kind of stops here? There's like a little half moon nub right here, and that's it. And then this is smooth at the bottom. You don't see that on the Smith & Wesson Model 36 new one, right? It's kind of got this long, kind of elongated, just like on the 442. There is no nub here, it's just elongated all the way down. So that's very concerning to me. It means that they're using the same frame, and I get that. That makes sense, right? Because it's like, why would you make 2 different frames? But then it's like, why don't you just say this is chambered for 357 if, like, I assume it's going to be able to do, well, it'll fire it, but like I said, it got kind of stuck pushing it out, so clearly it wasn't designed to do it. But it's like, I think Smith just used the same frame, so I think all their J frames are J Magnum frames. I don't think any of them are kind of like that old classic, you know, Smith & Wesson Model 36 or the vintage Charter Arms Undercover, which is very similar to the Model 36. So something for you to keep in mind. this does look like it can fire a 357, but clearly it wasn't designed to. So that's going to be a pretty big question for Smith & Wesson. And if you go around the internet long enough, I know that Smith has kind of had something like this before. I believe it was Fortune Cookie 45 LC. He has a model, Smith & Wesson Model 25. I don't know if their new ones will do it as well, but I know he had an old one. He had an old Model 25, which is a 45 long Colt gun, and his could chamber, and I believe he tested it with a snap cap, it could fire the 454 Casull. Now, 454 Casull is a lot stronger than 45 long Colt, and that'll probably explode the gun. So that's concerning. That's concerning. And I'm probably going to sell this gun because I thought it was going to be kind of that old school J-frame size, but it's not. It looks like it's a J-frame Magnum. And then of course, why can it fire 357 when it's not supposed to? So disappointing, but that's okay. I guess that's all I really have to say about the Smith & Wesson 442 unboxing. Hope the information was useful to you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.
You learned martial arts! Martial arts, good!